We are a channel that appreciates its viewers. We give our utmost effort for the best quality content, and we even push for the highest quality effort when it comes to how we look for you on screen.
Hi. When I need my skin to look its absolute best when I'm blowing the heads off zombies, I set my ring light to 4700K. Because I care. Maybe he's born with it.
Join our community. Join a channel that loves its viewers. Join this channel because we care.
Yay!
Yay!
Yay! Look like
Yay.
a dungeon over here. What's up, everybody?
What's up, man?
Hey.
How y'all doing this fine Friday night?
It's all right. Oh my gosh, your background is amazing there, Mr. Forrest.
Well, I did one for distance nerding, and I needed one for Kyber Cave, so
Crying
Yeah.
Bowser. Oh, we need to sorry, we'll get into this, but we need to definitely do our checks for that to make sure everything's working so we can do Mario RPG.
Yes.
Dude, I'm told
with it.
I was
Get on with it!
Aaron's screen looks like a NASCAR, like a race
I
car.
know, it's
Say
amazing.
full screen me real quick. Let me duck.
Let's get on with it.
Oh, wait.
Good job, man.
Wait a minute. Slide to the side. Wow. Why don't you talk about what all? So let's start with you here. What all do you have going on your screen here?
Okay, so obviously the main hub here and here, and then my own personal stuff here and here.
Uh-huh.
Then you could find me on Tuesdays, Thursdays at Distance Nerding, and obviously 2 Queens and a 4s.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then I've joined Graveyard with Retro Alcove.
Mm-hmm.
We've done a Zelda live stream, and then of course our Last of Us series.
Yeah.
And then of course she loves her crying Bowser
My crying Bowser was the best.
and Mega Man, and then the other stuff that Graveyard made. So freaking yeah.
Wow. So okay, with all the shows that you were doing, considering your gaming shows, distance nerd, because you're doing distance nerding twice a week, right?
I guess so.
Once a week or twice a week?
I guess I'm twice a week now.
Oh my goodness.
Wow, dude. So you're doing that twice a week. You're doing 2 gaming nights, at least 2 to 3 gaming nights a week, right? And then there's editing on top of that?
Yeah.
Dude, he edits like a madman. I will be joining that soon, I'm sure.
Holy
Yeah. Tomorrow night, tomorrow or by tomorrow night, the second episode of 2 Queens and a 4s will be uploaded.
Holy
I'm so
schnitzel.
excited.
Nice.
Do you even see your family anymore? When's the last time you talked to your children?
As a matter of fact, we went out. Oh, Leia, she got news tonight that she's performing because she's in freaking dance. So she performs. So typically each year she'll do like 3 or 4 dances for her recital. So we learned tonight that she's in 10.
Oh my
Whoa.
goodness. Wow.
So,
Wow.
and
That's
she was
awesome,
like bouncing off the walls because one of the songs that she's dancing in is from Mulan, "I'll Make a Man Out of You."
Oh,
That's
wow.
So she's got the costume and she's got the spear prop and everything, and she's been learning it, and she's
That's awesome.
bouncing off the freaking ceiling. So we heard
Quite
all about
literally
this.
is
So yeah,
dancing.
and of course the boy is the boy, and so yeah, I see everybody. Remember, I work 3 12-hour days, so I've got 4 days off.
Right.
When's the lightsaber, Danny?
Right. This Sunday night we have hit 900 subscribers.
Woo!
Thank you for everybody that has subscribed, and I want to thank actually how do I do this? The 3 of you.
For what?
Because I think a lot of it has to do with your content. Some of your Mets has been working on individual little shorts. Basically, I just told her to go in and just clip things out
shorts.
have different shows, and some of the shorts have been blowing up, and those have added to our subscriber and just our general people being aware. So because of that, because we hit 900 subscribers, Danny, we are giving away a Saber this Sunday night at 7 p.m. All you got to do is tune in, leave a little message. If you just say hi, your name automatically gets tracked into the little computer. If you have multiple YouTube accounts, it gives you multiple chances to win a Saber. Graveyard has won before.
I did, yes.
What is up? This is Ezra, former producer of the show. So that will be this Sunday. And on top of that, we have incredible guests who was a semi-regular here. Mr. John D. Michaels will be with us this Sunday night. And we're going to be talking about his he's in the United States right now. He's doing the actor thing in LA.
He's home?
Well, actually, no, his home is kind of up here in the Bay. But he's, down with his actor friends and doing gigs and stuff like that. And I think he's actually booked some projects. So,
oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So we're going to be excited to see him here February 11th at KYBER CON 3. Yes. They mostly pod out at night as a sponsor for the show. So we would like to thank them. Make sure to check out They Mostly Pod Out at Night wherever you pod out at night.
It's an awesome podcast. One of these days, I want to be part of this podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Filled with
it's awesome.
All right, what does Say Wong says here? I can't.
Did I get an Alice frame yet for my pack? Not yet, Say Wong. I'm waiting.
An Alice frame, like American McGee's Alice, or what? What is the Alice frame that you speak of?
It's the Alice frame for backpacks that like the army uses for carrying their bags for long trips. So you put in the Ghostbusters, they use Alice frames to carry their packs, so they're like 80 pounds in the movies. Geez. So yeah, I'm getting the Alice pack. I'm going to be doing some modding on my pack as well at some point. So
nice.
Just to make it
Sorry,
more,
my brain went immediately to Alice, American McGee's Alice. That's funny.
It's so funny. These are like little tiny things that I'm sure like nobody else except for like the diehard Ghostbuster fan, the ghost heads as they are known, would be would notice. Yeah, they've got the and actually that's kind of funny because Star Wars fans don't really have a name for our group. Like you have Trekkers and Trekkies, which I guess are two different groups.
They are very different. Trekkies.
What do you call Lord of the Rings people? Nerds.
I haven't seen really a name for them.
Is there a name for that group of people?
Tolkien? I don't know.
Tolkienites.
They're not Tolkien heads?
They might. I don't think.
I thought they were Tolkien. I thought they were Tolkien heads.
Yay!
Love it.
You guys started on time tonight? What?
Yeah, I know. Who would have anticipated that? I'm tired of Say Wong talking shit all the time. Every time we start late, so I had to get in on time at least once. Hey, okay, maybe you might know. What do you call? Do you know? Okay, we were talking about what the names of groups are, right? So like, there's Trekkers and Trekkies. But what do you call people that are into Lord of the Rings? What are those groups of people called?
I don't have a name. I don't.
Is there a name?
I mean,
see?
Because like Star Wars people don't really have a name either.
Yeah, they do. Star Wars fans are called toxic.
Oh man. Yeah, the thing is like they're just fantasy like nerd. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, I think Tolkien fans are just like Tolkieners, or they're like just. I mean, we don't really have a name. Generally, you're just like, are you an elf or a hobbit or a human or an orc? Like that's generally like how they
I'm Aragorn, just saying.
Right. Sounds very racist.
I mean,
my
moniker is Lucian, so
if you're Aragorn, then I'm Treebeard.
You know, actually, Matt, now that I think about it, you are kind of Treebeardish. This is actually a compliment, guys, because Treebeard is badass. So.
Alrighty, so yeah, so I don't even know how we got into that line or what that was even about.
I missed so much already. I was having dinner.
I know so much happens in 10 minutes.
Get on.
How you doing, Anthony? What's new with you?
Doing all right. I'm still in the midst of my dry January, so I have a whole 5-6 days before I'll have another drink.
How you feeling?
Your show hasn't started yet, right? Isn't it like?
No, it did. We had our first show last week.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was off on the schedule. How was it?
Did you see that I shared it, Anthony? I shared your blurb for your show. I shared it on Facebook. You and I still need to get together and hang out.
I know. It's crazy because Eli took on the position of being the coordinator for this year's Pride for Lodi, which also means that like I'm doing more as far as the entertainment and the activity side of it. So we've been really engaged in that on top of everything else, and then on top of that, we've been dealing with the city, of course, in regards to our club. Because a few weeks ago, they had this whole presentation set forth from the commission board about their lease and license and whatnot, trying to say that they're not in compliance and that, they need to sell more food. But like the things that they did at that meeting were like really jacked up because the ABC doesn't have any issue with what they're doing. They offer food for a certain amount of time and nobody buys it. So
they were not acceptable. Sorry.
Well, and that's just it. Like the city was like, you need to produce sales of like 50% in gross food sales within the next 6 months. Otherwise, we're going to revoke your permit. And I went to them this week for their last meeting saying, hi. So as somebody who works in the restaurant industry, let me just tell you, I don't know where you're getting that statistic or that percentage from, because I can guarantee you, you're not getting that data from any of the other businesses that are in the area. And as a bar manager for a very successful restaurant, most of my bar patrons, even if they have a full dinner, still well outweigh their food purchases with alcohol expenditures. The more accurate percentage would be about 30%. If a third of your sales were food, I would believe that. But asking for 50, you're literally setting them up to fail. And then on top of that, they put out a slam piece in the newspaper like the day after that meeting saying that they were trying to shut them down. So I'm like, how the hell are they supposed to hire on more staff like chefs and servers and other people to run this restaurant side that you're demanding from them if you're going to literally put it out in the universe for everyone to know, hey, they might get shut down here soon. No one's going to apply for that job. No one is going to apply for that job. I went to their meeting and I put all of that forth in a 5-minute presentation. I basically ripped them a new one in the very polite way of pointing out facts. And you could tell in that video that these old ass men were just like shuffling in their seat, not knowing what to do because they knew that they were being called out on their bullshit. So the good news is that with ABC, they don't care if it's a 47 or 48. It doesn't change for them. A 47 is the food and liquor. A 48 would just allow them to just be a bar. And we're really pushing for them to just be allowed to be a club. Just allow them to be a club because that's what people go there for anyway. And we don't really have the issues that they're claiming that they're afraid of. Why am I still so fucking red? Did I touch my face today? I just had dinner.
You're beautiful. That's the way you are.
And I'm still fucking red. I have rosacea. I don't know.
Oh, you're still beautiful. Shush.
Thank you.
Well, to your point, I think when I was a brewer at a restaurant, we started the brewery side. Our goal was to get 70% alcohol to 30% food. That was the goal because alcohol makes more money.
Yeah, no, any person in the business will tell you that the bar is where the profits come from. It's not from the dinner service. So to have that, and Lodi already has more fucking restaurants per capita than anywhere else in this country. I don't know where they think we need another restaurant, especially one that's tucked away in the back corner of an alley. Like that's not gonna survive as a restaurant. They are just trying to find something to nitpick on because they started harping on them literally a month after I debuted my show last year. So I can read between those lines. You saw something queer come into your community and went, well, we can't say it's because of that. So now we're going to nitpick something else.
It's funny because that's what I was going to ask if that was, do you think that was the case? Because
I think 100%. it's got the biggest like POC crowd in any bar in the downtown area. Like they have a very diverse crowd that goes there, and so
gonna have to come
that's
there one
really
day.
the hang up that this city council has. The good news is that the mayor has become aware of the situation. He's been reading the emails that have been sending in. By the way, send emails to the Lodi City Council about how Blend Ultra Lounge is awesome, safe place to go, and that you love the drag show and the ceviche is delicious. Hi, okay, look at that stranger back there. Oh my God!
Anthony said, "What's up?"
It's been a minute, sir.
I know. I didn't recognize him when I saw him the other day. I'm like, who is that?
Okay, so I have a weird question. Okay. You're so
way to make it weird.
Matt was saying that you were looking for a 70-30 combo for alcohol to food ratio or whatever. 70 being alcohol. I realize that the alcohol is where the most amount of money is made, but like I'm not a drinker at all. I literally may drink once a year. You know, like if I'm having a special occasion, you'll never really see me drunk. However, like how often do normal people drink? Like to expect your business to run off 70% just alcohol, knowing that I can't, jump in my car and go down to the bar and have a few drinks. I mean, I like. Do people drink alcohol like every night, and how much alcohol do people?
Absolutely, they do. Okay,
Yeah.
so
a bunch of alcoholics. Mm-hmm.
The majority of my customer basis is like 65 and up, so a lot of retirees. But I have regulars that I see like daily. If I don't see them every other day, and they typically will come in and have 3 to 4 cocktails. Sometimes they'll eat. Like a lot of people, they'll come in just for drinks, and I made a statement to point that out too. Like. I have people that literally come in with their friends. They have like 3 rounds of drinks, and then that's it, and then they go. So it's not like they're even having food. But like even people that come in and have dinner, they'll spend $40 on their dinner plate, but they get 3 glasses of wine at $16 a pop. You already have more money just in those wine, and that's just the one person drinking that. So yeah, it can be done. It's and that's the thing. Even at my show, it was a huge success. We were not expecting us to get hit as hard as we did for our first time back. But I mean, we got about 30 people in there all in the span of about 30 minutes after we like opened the doors essentially between 6:30 and 7. And every single person ordered food, and they all really loved my ceviche, which was a vegan friendly option. I did a chipotle aioli with a vegan spread, and it was amazing. And even with every single table ordering a meal with their purchase, we still had 30% of it was food sales. Everybody had 2-3 drinks.
Wow!
And so it adds up quick. It really does add up quick.
I find that very, very interesting. I guess we're just. I mean, like, okay, Matt. I mean, are we like a country of alcoholics? Like, do most people drink like a lot, like every day?
Well,
I mean, I'm not
welcome
saying
to America. It's horribly
everybody
depressing. So therefore, I need things to numb the pain.
You know what? I'm not gonna lie, dude. I'm a huge pothead, and so I probably, I'm not judging anybody. Believe me, that's not what this is about. It's about me understanding, like. The running a bar or something. I was like, wow, do people really drink that much like all the time? To
I mean, you can get your meal for $20, but if you get, let's say, average people not to get drunk, 2 drinks, that's depending on the drink, that's more than your $20 plate. It really is. So that's why the sales can skew that way.
Your cost per glass, I'm sure, is relatively low.
The income revenue, the difference of cost versus food is bare minimum profit margins. It really is, maybe 10,
because
15%.
Of the waste.
Yeah. So, and all the stuff that goes into it versus, how many people you need making drinks versus how many people need to make a plate of food.
Yeah.
It's especially in the brewery side, it was me brewing and I had the owner helping me out, but we were doing, thousands of dollars worth a week of beer sales just from 2 people working versus a kitchen staff and the wait staff of 40 other people.
Wow.
So especially with the brewery side and the restaurant side, that you can have less people do more. And that way you don't have to have that high of a staff.
The markup's also a lot higher too.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like 50 cents at most to make a pint of beer and you sell it for $6.
Wow.
That's pretty cheap.
Yeah, well,
Most
I mean,
of them
I
are
know,
like $8 or $9 too.
I know, like as a business, I know things that are liquid tend to be like really like a can of Coca-Cola. The can costs more than the product that you're actually buying inside the can. You know, but the markup on that when it's only costing them, you know, 5 cents to make it and then another 5 cents to distribute it. You know what I mean? The markup on that is incredible. So, you know,
Well, even
I
soft
guess,
drinks are a huge profit margin for companies, even though they come with free refills.
right,
Like,
right,
it don't
right.
cost them that shit for those 10 drinks that one person might drink. And most people don't suck down their sodas like that. They usually have like one or two.
Oh my
Right.
God! If there's
still like
any,
a $4 beverage.
if there's any establishment that makes just an absolute killing on soda, it's freaking movie theaters. No doubt. $6.50 for a medium drink at AMC.
Now,
Yeah,
the movie
that's-
theaters
really?
almost solely make their profits off of the concession stands because the markup on things like popcorn.
Yeah.
That entire fucking big ass industrial sized bag of popcorn is $4. They charge you $8 for the big thing, and they can make like 80 of those out of that.
Yeah,
So,
Right.
yeah.
Well,
Because
what
the
happened-
majority,
what happened to
the
Frank?
majority of
Yeah, I don't know, we
the
lost
sales at
connections
movie
and-
theaters is concession.
well, okay, yeah. So I don't know if you guys
This is
know
Forrest Mario.
how movie theaters work as far as like when they get movies in. Like, let's say they get the brand new Marvel movie, whatever. Ant-Man is the next movie that's coming out,
Yeah.
right? So let's say that the movie theater gets that. They have to make a deal with the distribution company where they getting the movie from, and it's usually something like the first week of sales, the distribution company gets 80%, and the theater gets 20% of ticket sales. And I actually think it's higher. I want to say like first week is 90% distribution company, 10% movie theater, and then every week it gets bigger and bigger. So second week, you know, the theater gets 20%. Third week, knowing that, you know, most people who are going to see a movie are going to see it, you know, the first, you know, week or two that it's out. But if it goes much past that, it's probably people that have seen it a couple of times and, you know, are going
Well,
back
that
to
or
see it
people
again.
just wait for it to go on a streaming service at this point. Like movies don't have the long-standing power that they did before because, you know, you would wait months and months to see it on DVD or VHS.
Blu-ray,
Now it's
right.
like 3 weeks later, oh, I could go buy that at the store. So if it's
Right.
one that you don't feel like, oh, I don't really want to have to go and deal with the crowds, or oh, you know, it looks interesting, but it's not worth the movie ticket. I'll just wait for it to come on a streaming service.
Right, it's literally what 2 months for most of the majors now. I think Wakanda Forever was 2 months from theater to
Disney Plus.
Disney. So yeah,
If
you know,
anything,
I don't know. I feel
Top
like
Gun
these
Maverick
companies are
really did well this last year because that stayed in theaters for a long ass time, and I still never got a chance to see it. It was always sold out. Every time I go to buy a fucking ticket, it would be like, oh, you can pick from like the first 2 rows. I'm not watching my movie like this. No.
I know, right?
What happened to Aubrey?
I don't know. They
just
she
dropped
bounced
out? Oh, well, we love you, Aubrey. Hope you come back. Maybe she had her cat to deal with.
It's that bad internet out there. Yeah. All right, so you know what? We haven't even actually technically gotten into our topics, but
I was about to say, what was our topics?
we're only
We were-
30 minutes into the show.
Let's
I
say
guess
we're not
it's time
late.
to-
We're not late starting the show. We're late starting the topics. So say that way.
Hey, you know what? You can't have everything, all right? It's one or the other. All right, well, you know, I almost feel like this kind of leads into the top 5 one. And then you guys want to start with that, or do you want to leave that one for a second?
Yeah, we
Don't
can
matter.
start with that.
Let's start with
I
that.
think
I'll
it'll
start
go
with
quick.
that. Let's start a little bit light. All right. Top 5 favorite TV shows as of date of all time. Greatest shows of all time.
So we're gonna go like say our number 5, then go around and do
You
that.
know what? I don't even know. God, I don't
I
even
don't
know
even
I
have
could
5
put
at
it
this moment in
on
time.
a list. Like when this came up and I was looking at it, I was like, maybe we could just kind of like talk about things or, you know, talk about why they were such great show. Okay, so today while I was having lunch, I was out at a restaurant. I had my phone and a video came up and it was about Married with Children, and I was like, oh crap, I totally forgot that show. You know what I mean? And it was talking about how you could never make Married with Children nowadays. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it would
all
piss off too
this
many people.
Al Bundy was such a sexist pig, and the jokes were just out there and blatant. But like at the same time, you still have South Park. You know what I mean? Like, you think you can't really say these things and do things, but at the same time, there are examples of shows that are long-running shows that aren't getting hey, Aubrey's back, that aren't getting slammed for these things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, it almost makes you wonder, like, why it's acceptable one place, but it's not accept. Why wouldn't it be acceptable to bring back the Bundys 2023? You know what I mean? Al Bundy and Kelly Bundy and Peg Bundy.
I think it's different when it's live action versus cartoon. That people can view the live action as a legit person versus South Park. No one's going to mistake them for being people.
Right, but that's okay to make fun of different races and medical conditions and
So South Park actually makes my top 5. I'm just going to tell you, South Park hands down makes my top 5. I think it's one of those things that if you go all in, if it's there is no one-sided anything. There's
right,
no
like how many gay jokes have they made on South Park?
Yeah,
I
South
think
Park goes after everybody. They go after
everyone equally, yeah.
It does not matter. It does not matter what any kind of group it is. You are going to get made fun of, and that's their whole point, is that everyone is subjective to it, because that's how comedy works. I think with Married with Children, it's taking that slice of suburban America, and I mean, again, it was made in a time where you didn't see anything other than the wholesome family, right? They were not a wholesome family,
right.
That
was during what, Family Ties
in the late '80s or the early '90s. You could afford a 2-story, 3-bedroom house on the wage of a shoe salesman. That just goes to show how we are in much different times already. But yeah, the dysfunctional family, the closer akin show to that would probably be Malcolm in the Middle. And that one could still be done today because it wasn't as problematic by today's standards. But yeah, otherwise South Park is still hilarious to me. I again, if it wasn't going to get me automatically canceled in drag, I would totally come out as Mrs. Garrison. But canceled. Like, hi ladies, how's it going? I can't wait to bleed out my snatch.
What do y'all think about this crowd, Mr. Hat?
I have to say, when you talk about South Park being one of the top 5 shows of all time, I remember when they had the Obama election. Who was Obama?
Oh my gosh,
McCain.
that one was
so
so funny. It was Obama.
They
and McCain,
literally wrote 2 versions of their cartoon and had it ready. Like, the election results came up on Tuesday, and on Wednesday they had like a brand new cartoon.
It was like an Ocean's 11 style, where like they were in cahoots to steal something.
Yes.
It was so funny.
And if you've ever seen like
with her fucking size,
if you've ever seen behind the scenes of like how they produce the show South Park, that show is working on literally a week to week like deadline. Like, literally, the show that you watched tonight, they worked on less than 7 days in the last 7 days.
Yeah,
like I cannot believe the amount of stress and pressure. And how do you like guarantee you're funny every time, every day when you're under that kind of a timeline? You know what I mean?
Sometimes skits will write themselves, though.
Yeah, I think they also
sometimes, but when you're doing it every week.
Yeah, well, they go into it with a loose concept in mind. It's either a slice of life episode where something random's going on with the kids, or they do something that's like a political commentary of the day.
Satire.
So they were always really good at staying on the pulse of what's going on in the news, because they were ready to be like, okay, let's make a story about that and then run with it. And then there's always that foil going on the other side of like what the other characters are doing that gives them some leeway to kind of play with that while they're focusing on this. But they're very clever guys.
Oh, they're very smart guys. Matt Stone and Trey Parker are very. I mean, they've done so many other things, like the Book of Mormon musical. They did Cannibal the musical. They did basketball. They did
best friends.
Yeah, I mean they're incredibly intelligent men. They did Orgasmo. They've done so many.
Team America, World Police.
Yeah, Team America. Yeah, one of the best movies ever. Pearl Harbor still sucks. Just saying. I love that show. Show's amazing. I love that movie. I hated it when it first came out, and it's grown on me so much. I love that movie. It's great.
Aubrey,
Yes.
if you give us one of your, it doesn't have to be number one exactly, it doesn't have to be 5, but give us one of your top 5s of all time.
What do you think is going to be on my top 5?
On your top 5 TV
I
shows?
know.
Rings of Power.
Sailor Moon.
Rings of Power.
The Greatest American Hero.
Get out of here.
Airwolf.
Oh my God, we just talked about it.
Are you talking
Star
about
Trek?
Star Trek. Oh, Star Trek. Star Trek. Okay.
It's fine. Yeah, most
Star
I
Trek
mean,
only
I
ran
like
for,
all
like-
I like all Star Treks. I have all of them, or I've watched most of them, but not all of them. So
Didn't the original
But
series
it's
only
fine.
run for like 3 years? It wasn't
three
very long
seasons,
at all.
and
right?
then it had a animated series, and then I had the movies.
Hey, what's up, Patrick? Good to see
So
you.
it had
Films.
2 seasons of the animated, so it completed its 5-year mission.
You didn't see Eli just now. He said hi.
What's up, Eli?
I saw Eli.
Eli.
So, I'm only called paying attention everywhere else. What's up,
And
Eli?
yeah.
So Star Trek. So what is this love? What is so perfect about Star Trek that it is in the top 5?
I think it's just great storytelling. It also it's not satirizing it, but it also brings up like moral dilemmas or dilemmas in society that may be happening at the time, or they're classic timeless, issues. They're usually forward-reaching progressiveness. Like we had like The Outcast is a story that's very coded to be either about trans. You can have it about trans people or about gay people. It's very coded that way, but it was something that they tackled like in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s, and it's still, you can still watch it now and it's still relevant. They have other things.
What series? Was
That's
that in?
for the Next Generation. They also have ones like Deep Space Nine. There's several episodes that I'm like, oh my gosh, we're kind of going through that right now.
Well,
Wow.
even the very first series had the television's first interracial kiss.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Which
and then, like,
they tried not to actually. They tried everything they could to make it so it wasn't the first interracial kiss. And William
Lucille
Shatner
Ball.
actually.
I love the story.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Aubrey.
William
I love the
Shatner
story.
messed it up on purpose just so they had to put in the racial kiss.
He
The
was
actual one
forced
where they
to do
actually
2
kissed.
shots, but
Yep.
then he destroyed the original the footage that he didn't like, so that this one was the only one that could be used.
Yeah, James, Deep Space Nine is my favorite series. After watching all of them, I would say Deep Space Nine. Space Dad is the best. Space Dad, hands down. Princess Leia may be our space mom, but Benjamin Sisko is our space dad all the way. Everyone wants a dad like Benjamin Sisko. 'Cause he
Distance
is
nerding
awesome.
in the house. What is
Yep,
up,
yep, yep.
Jamez?
But yeah, that series has some of the best episodes in it. It's actually was one of the leading serialization for TV. That was the one that was first of its time to do it, to really serialize, to have running stories throughout it. The arcs and the continuation of stories from episode to episode. At the time, because it was released in 92 and it went to 99. And there was just a lot of, and it was really quite dark for its time. So it's a really good show. So yeah, there's just a lot. It also, like, it has classic sci-fi storytelling in it as well. Just really great episodes. You have a lot of, even in Voyager, like you've got ones like the Tuvix dilemma. Did Tuvix deserve to exist or not? Like it's such a great. I love the moral ambiguity or the moral questions that it answers or asks, and it doesn't necessarily answer any of them.
Remind me again, which
Which is
one
why I love
is
it.
which are the Trekkers and which are the Trekkie? Are the
So trekkers are the ones that like to dress up.
Right.
They're the ones
okay.
who like to dress up, and they like to go to the cons, and they like to dress up
Okay.
and live the Trek experience.
Okay.
Whereas Trekkies, they generally are about the deeper meanings of the show. They generally are about the philosophy.
Like the philosophy of the show.
Yeah, they're like, you know, like Star Trek is a place, it's a time, place and time. So they.
Eli said he likes it because Data's hot.
Data is hot. Eli, I knew there was something there.
Anybody else here a Trekkie?
Yeah.
Anybody else a deep love?
Sci-fi was never really my thing. I'm more the fantasy kid.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Graveyard.
Okay.
Yes.
What would
I
be
can
one of
correct
your
you.
top 5 TV shows of all time?
This may be the shortest one on the list. I'll try to sing it. Take my love, take my land, take me where I cannot stand.
Oh, Firefly!
Yes.
Yes, brown coats
Firefly.
forever.
Brown coats, yes.
I do love me some Firefly.
Firefly, absolutely. To me,
But
it's one of the
it is
best.
so short. It's only 12 episodes.
It is. It is. But it's. I think it's just. It was the good emphasis of like the old, like not cyberpunk, but like Western space sci-fi drama. It's really good for it. You know, the TV show Serenity was amazing, or the movie Serenity was great too.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, Nathan Fillion is fantastic. Alan Tudyk, Gina Torres, you know, River. They're all great, and you know, it did follow the formula a little bit that Star Trek really set out to do. Like Star Trek, you know, I watch Star Trek, and I'll get to another one of my shows on here. But it really sets the formula of like the monster of the week or the alien of the week, and then having the continuity continue. And I think it's just, you know, the acting of Firefly and just every character melded really perfectly together. Like everyone's perfect. Jane was perfect. Everyone.
Yeah, I honestly don't know. I've never seen Firefly, and I'm surprised here it only had 12 episodes because I do know of Firefly, and I know it has a cult following.
Yes.
So to hear that it has a cult following after
It had a movie too, though, didn't it?
12 episodes.
It did.
Yeah, Serenity.
Okay. Yeah, Serenity.
One of my
yeah.
favorite TV shows that I will mention only has 13 episodes. So
What is that?
it's a close second. We'll get to it.
Well-
Right now we're talking about Firefly.
We're doing a round robin right now.
Yeah.
But yeah,
All right,
okay. So like I said, I have a brown coat hat, and I do have, you know, Serenity ship on my sci-fi leg. So it's, you know, I had to have it on there.
Right.
Just because Whedon is not perfect doesn't mean that his shows aren't good, and that we have to look at all the acting of them. We have to look at the storylines that are not always written by the creator. In fact, a lot of them are not written by the creator. So you do have you have the different directors, and you have the different writers as well. So, but yeah, I agree. Whedon is not perfect.
Slacking on the
Oh yes, James. Firefly does hold up to this day. I think you need to watch it in the intended order, not the air date order. You have to watch it in particular order because the pilot episode's not episode 1 that they aired.
Yeah, no, that's the same way with Star Trek. Actually, they have.
And Star Wars.
You do not watch them. You don't watch them by their air date. You have to watch them by how they shot them, like which ones were shot actually intended to be aired, then they didn't air them that way. So even in the original series, so you don't watch them by the date they were aired. You watch them by when they were created and where they were slotted to go into.
Fours. What would be one of your top 5?
Are we like of all time, or are we going as of date?
No, of all time. It doesn't have to be number 1 or 5. Just in general.
X-Men.
That was on my
Which one?
the animated series.
It's gonna be the animated series.
The correct one. Thank you.
The only one. Yeah.
No, there was an X-Men Next Generation one in the early 2000s.
Okay, that one
know,
is actually really good too. I'm not gonna lie. It's
X-Men
actually really
Evolution is
fantastic.
decent. Wolverine and the X-Men was
Evolution.
actually really good, but the original X-Men on
original
Fox,
90s.
Yep,
Yep.
that one. Yep.
Yeah, James mentions X-Men 97. How do you feel about that, Aaron? Are you excited? Are you scared?
You know, I'm really not. They're bringing back a majority of the original cast. Unfortunately, Cyclops, Norm Spencer, who was like the best actor on that show, he passed away a couple of years ago. So that sucks. And it's so sad because when I learned, I was like scouring the internet to try to figure out what studio was handling the show because I'm like, I want to audition to be Cyclops. I want to audition to be Cyclops, and I could never find it. And I'm like,
James Jubilee is amazing. I agree.
So, but yeah, I was.
Great.
Damn it!
Yeah, X-Men's one of mine. I love that show. Always
love X-Men.
Okay,
Love
so
X-Men.
and especially, I mean, how old were you when that was a relevant thing in your life?
12.
Wow.
I was
The
12.
perfect age for that
Do you
show.
think your love for it has something to do with your age, or like, do you love it now? Like, have you gone back and rewatched any of them?
Yeah, last year. I did a whole binge run of it last year.
And does it still hold up just as strong?
Oh yeah, it totally does. I mean, geez, I'm crow, dude. Like 2 years ago, I made my Cyclops sound font. It's called Leader X, and it's nuts because Norm Spencer passed away 2 days after I released that font.
Wow.
So like that's kind of like my love letter to Cyclops. You know, it's freaking. I love that font.
And I agree with.
I would agree with you, James.
Yes. Best
James, I
Phoenix Saga.
totally agree. It does have the best Phoenix song. And it does have the best Storm too.
It does.
Which one? Because there's 2 of her.
I call upon the powers of the wind, blow against them, rain down. Everything she said was like this epic magnum opus.
Yes.
Let me just take you to church and then blast you with fucking hail and lightning. It was amazing.
Anthony, do you do a storm?
I mean, I just did one. So.
Storm?
I don't think I could pull off Storm. I'm pretty sure people would riot in the streets. I could pull off me a nice good rogue. That's for damn sure. I would absolutely slay as rogue.
Y'all look about as nervous as a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs.
Don't worry, sugar.
Okay, so you already know South Park from me. As far as
but wait, I want to know. I want to know. Wait, I want to stay with X-Men for a quick second.
Okay.
And especially for it sounds like multiple people have quite a love of X-Men. I remember it, but I wasn't a big watcher back then, so I don't. I think I was probably older at that time, anyways. But what was it about that show that was so compelling that makes it stick out even after all these years?
Okay, it was the acting. It was the writing and the acting, because that show and Batman the Animated Series,
one of my favorites,
was the only 2 shows that tackled more adult themes and situations and scenarios in cartoons. You got to remember that as we entered into the 90s, it wasn't about the merch anymore. You got to remember, stuff like He-Man and She-Ra and Thundercats, that was all to sell toys.
Yep.
X-Men was not there to sell toys. This wasn't,
even though it did.
It totally did.
It
wasn't, look at this new vehicle we're driving this week, or look at this new gun we're firing this week, or look at this new sword. It was always about very compelling storytelling, and while they weren't 100% true to the comic, they did their very best to bring the comic to us.
I mean, there are some funny things that I would say that are in it. Like the minute that Wolverine's claws come out, that either buildings are going to get wrecked or he's going to get his ass beat.
Yeah.
I mean that in all seriousness, because otherwise it would have been too gruesome for kids.
Oh, absolutely. That's the whole reason why Leonardo from Ninja Turtles never cut anybody. He just took the things out and then started kicking people. That's just how it went.
I have swords, but I'm not actually going to use them.
Well,
Yes.
yeah, I mean, it's the same thing with Star Wars. They can lightsaber duel for 12 straight minutes and never land a hit, but damn, they're going to land those kicks every time. Every time.
Even when they don't connect.
Return of the
Sorry,
yeah,
I was like, this is so bad.
I do actually remember Gambit being a badass on that show, dude.
Gambit was a badass, and boy, did
Gambit.
he love Rogue. He loved his Rogue.
And I would say they really brought comic accurate costume styles to it all too. I mean,
Yes.
it looked like it was the comic book come to life.
It was.
Mhm.
It was. They took it from X-Men Blue at the time, which back then it was because back then Uncanny was like at issue 280, but X-Men they did the spinoff and it started at issue 1, and that those costumes were used for the show.
Yeah.
Aside from Jubilee, they changed her glove color, but no, who pays attention to that? So,
I will say that one thing that one arc that I actually really loved was Sabretooth and Wolverine's arc. I thought that was such a great that I saw. Am I saying it correctly? I'm like I remember there being kind of like this arc that happened.
They hated
this
each
whole
other.
story thing about them. Yeah, but it was a little deeper than that. It was more of like getting to understand Sabretooth a little more. And that was really interesting.
well, it
because,
was like
you know, what-
it was like
Yeah, you
season
know what I'm
2 or
talking
3,
about.
They were
Mhm.
starting to call each other by their real names. It wasn't
Right.
Sabretooth, it was Creed, and you had Logan
Right,
and
Creed.
Scott, Gene, and
Right.
so yeah, they delved into that quite a bit.
But but it was between. I mean, there was a whole story thing between
What's Rogue's real
Wolverine
name?
and Sabretooth. Not who Rogue?
Yeah.
Marie,
Is it Marie?
Yeah.
Marie,
Sorry. Yeah.
but they never said that in the show.
No.
Yeah, we know Jean Grey's a turn. Yeah, I don't. But yeah, I don't. I mean, it's been such a long time since I've seen it, but that was one of the ones that I really remembered.
I wanted to make a comment based off of something Forrest was just saying that I never really thought about it.
Eli
in
just
this
looked up.
way.
Apparently, it's Anne. Anne
Is
Marie.
it Anne? Oh,
Marie.
Anne Marie.
Thank you, Eli. You know, you were talking about the cultural shift, and how these were the only two cartoons. You know, they were coming from a time when it was just about selling you these toys and this product, and now you had a cartoon that was kind of just coming at you, just kind of like real and raw.
Mhm.
And I was thinking, wow, how interesting that you said it like that, because the same exact thing was happening in music at that time. That was the birth of the grunge Seattle scene, and it was about stripping back the the big hair, glam bands that were popular at the end of the 80s, and just kind of stripping it down to its basics. So it seems it's very interesting how they kind of go hand in hand, even though they're completely different industries.
I would say that Spider-Man the animated series did a great job too.
Yeah, I did really like the Spider-Man series at the time. Again, you guys have to keep in mind too that I did not have television as a kid. So anything that I actually watched as a kid, I either watched at other people's houses. There was like a period of 9 months when I had TV, but for the most part, I did not have television growing up. So when I mean by television, I mean like cable and stuff like that. So so when I would get these little bits and pieces, usually it's like out of context because I had no idea where the seasons were, when they would start, when they would end. So to me, it was like arcs. Like I watched quite a bit for X-Men. Like the ones that really stood out to me were Magneto and Professor X's storyline, and the whole Sabretooth and Wolverine, and then also the bits and pieces I got to see of like the other characters. There was also the Phoenix storyline I did see. There was the whole thing when Jean Grey and Scott got married, and Wolverine having to grapple with that. It's really good. There was quite a few, but I got to see a lot of this out of context.
We do get some of the best memes of Wolverine holding the picture frame of Jean.
Oh God, that's
when thinking that Jean Grey was dead was interesting.
Speaking of cartoons that were kind of in that more serious vein, does anybody? And I guess I could put this probably in my top 5 favorite because it was an ongoing series. Does anybody remember on MTV? This is probably before like Aubrey's time.
I swear to God, if you say the Max,
I
fucking love the Max,
dude. The Max.
I stayed up so many late nights trying to catch every one of those.
I love the Max, dude. I collected the comic books based off of the.
If they made that into a new age noir movie, like Sin style or Sin City style.
Was that any good?
I want a re-release of that because when it came out on VHS altogether, they left the Hammerhead episode out.
What?
Okay, what is the Max? Okay, I gotta know, what is the Max? Sorry, guys.
Just sweetie, Google it. The Max, MAXX on
Hey,
MTV.
Meto.
It was during a time where MTV was doing a lot of adult cartoons. It started, I think, with like Liquid Television.
And then
the Max came sometime after that.
The Max and Aeon Flux.
Aeon Flux.
Yeah, I did watch Aeon Flux.
Fucks with you.
And Beavis and Butthead.
I actually stayed up and watched it. You know, my aunt and uncle had no. Oh, I did have a year of television when I lived with my aunt and uncle, and they had no idea I was watching Aeon Flux. But I would.
Damn it, Van!
I would stay up to watch Aeon
Take
Flux.
us back to the Max.
But I don't remember the Max.
The Max was when I remember. I remember watching that when I was in college. I was a graphic designer, and I remember we had to make these. We had to do some art. What's that thing? The scratch board where you scratch the board, but it's like white underneath. And I remember doing my picture was based around the Max, but it was on a line. God, can I remember it all these years? She said, and the day came when it became so painful to stay in the God. And the day came when she had to blossom because it became too painful to stay in the bud or something like that. It was a line from that show. But yeah, who wants to give Aubrey and the audience a really quick synopsis if they can? Because this show was kind of twisted and took you all over the place.
No, it was.
Okay, I've seen. I didn't know what this was, but I had seen I've seen some of the. I'm looking at it now, and I'm like,
he's a big purple.
Oh, okay. I do think I remember this very vaguely, but I did not watch it. But I did see a couple. I might have seen like half of one.
I think it really could make a good movie if somebody wanted to really bring the nostalgia factor again. But you know, far be it from taking a good entity that no one knows about and putting it forward. Let's
kind of reminds me of
already popular.
I mean, I kind of reminds me of Spawn, to be honest. Like
it has a very Spawnish vibe.
Very Spawn like vibe.
It was around that same time. Very anti-hero, very dark city.
I love Spawn. Yeah.
Matter.
Oh, I love Dark City. Dark City is
what
one of my
What I
favorite
love
movies.
though is that he could never tell when he was like in reality and when he was like hallucinating. So he was just always fighting this fight, but you know sometimes he would just be, you know, out in the middle of the road.
You know that movie, the Dark City, which you were saying, Dark City. I would have that as one of our watches because that's like one of my top favorite movies.
It's where the Wachowski siblings got all their ideas.
I know it's true. They actually did. It's a much more cerebral.
Dark
version.
City.
Dark City.
What is Dark City?
Oh my! See, Matt, they don't know. They don't know.
Do you know
You
Dark
said
City,
Dark
Anthony?
City. You did. That's what made me think about it.
Anthony, do you know this movie of which they speak?
No, I said Sin City.
It came out in 1998, and the color scheme there's between like a ultra reality dream state, and their colors are blue and green for real world versus not real world. If that sounds really familiar,
sounds like something I should totally want to watch because it's.
No, you guys should. If you love it, if you love science fiction and you love cerebral shit and you love like ideas, this movie is so freaking good. It's amazing. It's got Kiefer Sutherland. Who's the main? I never remember the main actor's name, but I love him. He's been in just a few things.
Dark. If you like The Matrix, you love Dark City.
Dark City. Dark City is so much better than The Matrix.
It's deeper. It's much deeper.
And it's much deeper. Yeah.
No, it's a series.
No, it's a movie. It's a singular movie.
Hey, we're talking about TV shows here. Don't stop. It's not like we can get off track here at this show.
Movies, okay?
Wait. I'm just saying.
Getting off topic at Kyber
Hold on. Wait. I'm just saying when we have our video watch, that would be my pick.
That would be your pick for the one that's your employee pick.
That would be my employee pick. If we had to watch,
Yeah, we're doing staff
we had to
picks.
watch. If we had to watch any, like, if any movie, I mean, that's like, it's on. That's definitely my top 5 stuff. It's such a good movie. It's so good. It's just
Rise of the Dark
Has
One
Jennifer
says
Connelly
Dark
in
City
it?
is amazing.
Yeah, yeah. It's got, as I said, Jennifer Connelly's in it. She's a babe. And you've got no, she's great in it. She's actually great in it. And you've got
Man.
William Hurt.
Why am I always
William
getting in
Hurt's
trouble when
in
she's
it
not
too.
here?
But it's good. It's fantastic. Anyways, going back to television shows, but yeah,
Okay, so
I
James
love the
is
vibe
Happy
of
right
days.
here, which totally brings me to one of mine.
Happy
Okay.
days.
Hint, hint.
Anthony, what's your favorite? What's another favorite one?
Thank
of
you.
yours?
I'm just going to tell you all 5 of mine because we're going to run out of time otherwise. So the only one that's not animated is I Love Lucy. I Love Lucy is still funny today. If you go back and watch it, it is still relevant, comedic humor. She's amazing. She's an icon. You wouldn't have Star Trek if it wasn't for Lucille Ball.
Right.
I agree.
Yes.
Honey, you are talking the crowd. I know.
Produce that.
She
So that's a
produced
fun
Star
fact.
Trek?
Lucille
She did,
Ball
yes.
is the one who
Lucille
pushed
Ball is one of the main
for it to happen.
women who did.
She helped
Her
produce
and
it to make it
DC
a
Fontana.
reality.
Desilu production, yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
and the thing
It's
is,
a
they were
Desilu
also like the first interracial couple featured on a regular TV syndicate.
Yep.
I mean, again,
wow,
you
you're
can
right.
watch any of those episodes now, and they're still so good. But as
They're
far as
really
my other
good.
ones, you already know South Park, so we got 2 down. Batman the Animated Series, absolutely hands down one of the best things ever to watch. Totally great, gripping television. It got good awards just for I think the Mr. Freeze episode. That's how that character should always
That's
be.
one of the best episodes. One of the best episodes ever. One of the best arcs ever.
Yes, absolutely.
It's
As far
not
as
just one
sci-fi,
episode. It's an arc.
no, I know it is like 2 parts I think for Cold Heart, but
Yeah.
as far as sci-fi is concerned,
Oh,
it's all about
yeah.
Cowboy Bebop, the anime, and I do mean the anime, not that reboot on Netflix, the live action. Fuck doing live action anime reboots. I'm tired of seeing those. They're all terrible. It's all Dragon Ball, but whatever. And then my last one, the last one and the number one. This takes the number 1 spot of best television show ever made, and you can fight me otherwise. Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Hell yeah.
Oh.
It's a really great series. I wasn't
It
even
is
thinking about
such
that.
a good
It's
series. It is so imaginative. The animation's fantastic. The storytelling is fantastic. It breaks down really complex adult things like war and genocide in a digestible form for children to watch. And it's
Yeah.
the only
It's also good
animated
for
show to
adults
ever
as
win a
well.
Peabody Award.
Wow.
Yeah. So those are my 5.
I have categories. So I have like my live act category, then I have my animation category.
Most
Is
of the
anybody
things
else-
that I watch are animation.
Yeah.
It was hard for me to not put Daria on this list because I love that one as well.
La la
Daria-
la, la,
Daria
la.
is so
Oh my
good, but
God.
it couldn't top any of those 5. I would rather watch
James-
South Park. I would rather watch Batman. I definitely have binge watched Cowboy Bebop multiple times.
Say Wong says Cowboy Bebop. Yeah, exactly. And then James, what did James say?
Yeah,
For me, Full Metal
I
Alchemist
mean,
is-
unless you
is
count
on top of
Samurai,
mine.
Afro Samurai, which I don't know.
Oh,
That was more of a
Afro
mini
Samurai.
series, but
Afro
Yeah.
Samurai was good. That's a good. I forgot about Afro Samurai.
fucking love that one
I
too.
I haven't choose like my top 5. I hate it.
Yeah.
Wait, what? Which one?
Oh, I hate having to choose top 5. I hate it.
Oh.
Yeah, that's why I didn't.
Like,
I didn't.
there's a
see it.
top
then I
20
think
at best.
Yeah, because then it's like, because then I'm like, oh, but what this show's amazing and this show's amazing. Oh man, I loved watching that show. Like I'd watch it again, hands down. You know what I mean? So it's hard.
God, I almost think you have to kind of throw. And okay, maybe I was just thinking about you kind of have to throw Twilight Zone, the series, in there because it was just so groundbreaking for everything else. But then that just got me to thinking a lot of everything what everybody has listed tends to be. I'm not saying all of the things have been, but a lot of them tend to be sci-fi. Is there something about sci-fi on television that seems to make it better?
You're in a group of nerds that are on a computer thing right now, so
I
I mean, yeah, that, but also
a lot of
deep
You're
Star Wars.
stories.
completely right.
But also you're looking at people who want to look at more cerebral things. So obviously sci-fi is going to be that because it's usually progressive, forward-thinking, cutting-edge things.
Right.
So it makes sense.
That in real life sucks. So there's
Say
that.
Wong, I
we
will
want
fight you
deeper
on that
stories.
one. I will say that Mike Judge does a great job with King of the Hill, and to that extent, I can see what you're saying with Daria. However, I will say for a spin-off of Beavis and Butthead, Daria did really well. And
especially since I hated Beavis and Butthead with a passion. I hate that show.
They were more
I
of
hate
a
it so much.
video review thing that had stupid things in between. Like they were never meant to be more than just commentary on the side. Although Eli did find a song that I remembered from a Beavis and Butthead episode from like 20 years ago that I could never ever find again, and he found it for me, and I was like, "Oh, it's one of the gayest music videos you've ever seen." I think it's called "Crucified" by oh god, what is the band called? I'm gonna look it up right now. But it's really, really funny. Go watch it. It's the most extra fucking music video you have ever seen.
You have to send me a link. Send me a link, Anthony.
Okay, I will.
Okay.
But
I hate that show. I hate Beavis and Butthead so much.
Any more thoughts on top fives?
So yeah, I made a list and I narrowed down to 15. But
it's hard.
I'm gonna throw out
these
there
15 commandments.
I'm gonna throw out there that as far as a live action comic book TV show, Daredevil.
Oh,
definitely on my top list.
That was phenomenal too.
Yeah. Comedy wise,
the Netflix one.
Yes.
Okay.
Comedy wise, Community or Psych. Especially Community because it's really nerdy stuff on there too. Especially their Inspector Time Cop and Kick Puncher and stuff like that. Dexter.
Oh.
Yeah.
As a whole, just because of the more horror aspect of it.
That shouldn't be surprising at all.
I'll throw in one that I don't know how good it'll be. It's been one season so far, but Yellow Jackets was.
I haven't seen it. Yeah.
It's Lost meets Alive by what was that movie? Alive, the soccer team that gets trapped in the mountains. It's Lost meets that.
Wow.
Number one show, X-Files.
Oh.
Yeah. You and I are a lot alike in these in our tastes in some ways. It's funny because was something else in my mind.
Yeah, horror TV shows have been severely lacking forever. So
have you checked out The Girl from Nowhere?
No.
It's on Netflix right now. It's it's Thailand that produces that show, but it kind of reminds me very subtly of like Tales from the Crypt, where it's more of a multiple it's an anthology of different stories. Each episode's its own story. It has one connecting character who's like very mysterious, and we're not quite sure what she is, but it is a story of like karma and comeuppance, where every time people kind of get themselves into this thing, and it's just her kind of reveling in people fucking up and like paying the consequences. Oh, did you do that? Oh, now you're having to suffer the consequences of your actions. Great.
What is this called?
The Girl from Nowhere.
It's on Netflix?
It's on Netflix. It's a really good watch. Oh. I mean, most of it centers around like high school students, but every so often it's like the teachers or the parents. It does clearly have a social commentary on what it's like to be in all these schools. But the main character is this girl named Nano, and she's kind of like the antagonist / instigator in a lot of these things. But she really just kind of sets people up to fall for these traps themselves. Wow. And she's the only constant thing throughout the show. So she always shows up as like some new exchange student in a new school with a new set of people that she's going to torture with their own choices and repercussions. And I think she gets drawn to them because they've already been doing it. Like it's never somebody like their first time being a piece of shit person. It's always like this person's been doing this for a while, and now I'm just going to trip them up and make them like get exposed for it. So nice. it's cool.
Wow, I'm gonna have to check this out.
It is a little graphic though at times. Just trigger warning going into it. There's a lot of violence. There's a lot of graping in moments and times. Not every episode, but a few of them. And then a lot of social commentary on what is the extent that you'll go for like money or for power or for fame or things like that. Yeah, Girl from Nowhere. Watch it on Netflix.
I'm gonna check that out. That's gonna be mine.
I added to my list.
Okay. Yeah. Graveyard, you'd like it too. There's the Junji Ito Maniac series that just dropped on there too.
Okay.
If you're familiar with his crazy style of anime, they have an animated show now for the Junji Ito audience. Very, again, Tales from the Crypt. Every episode's different, kind of spooky, scary shit. But I like it. I like that kind of stuff. I like scary stuff.
What about people in the audience? What are some of the shows that that stick out for you? Okay, I have one to throw on the list, but it has zero, like, had no cultural value. It was just one of those trite shows that
Sonic
was
the
just
Hedgehog?
always funny.
Hey, Jay, take that back. I eat chili dogs.
I only ate chili dogs as a kid because of Sonic the Hedgehog. I'm not gonna lie.
What about
Okay,
Three's
what is
Company?
it then?
Do you guys remember Three's Company? Was that before
Yes.
you guys' time?
We remember Three's
Knock on
Company.
our door.
I remember Jonathan Ritter's in it.
It was always about
on
bad
there.
communication.
Every sitcom is about bad communication. Sitcom's got a sitcom.
I guess that makes sense. All right. Anybody else have any other important shows that have changed their life? Anything that they remember on TV as being a favorite?
Aubrey Force.
I mean, I've got So on my list of them.
Oh, Say Wong says Seinfeld, Frasier, Third Rock from the Sun.
Oh, I
You know,
do
Aaron,
love all
why,
three
why
of
don't
those.
you go? Why don't you go first? Why don't you say your top 5 as a list?
Jeez Louise, my top
No.
25.
Fraggle Rock.
Yeah, I mean, I've got that many too. But I'm trying to narrow it down.
Shirt Tails.
I'm just gonna go through the faves, and most of them, and they're all animated anyway. Well, no, not all of them. So for live action, I still love the Flash. Love the Flash. Anime, it's gonna be the Slayers, hands down, and Record of Lodoss War. 2, 3, 4. I need one more. What the freak did I used to watch? That was like so damn good.
Andor.
Shut up.
You shut your whore mouth.
I have totally corrupted you. I have totally, completely corrupted you. Because you got that from me.
Man, I like
So grateful for it. And you know what? The Mandalorian.
That was on my list.
That's a good
Really,
one.
really love the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
if it's cool with you guys, I'm gonna go refill my drink and let a couple dogs out. Okay, I'll be right back.
No. Who let the
okay.
dogs out?
Force.
Force.
I was gonna say my 5. It's really hard to pick though, but I will say Batman the Animated Series is definitely on there. I already said Star Trek. Law and Order SVU, because I still watch it. I actually still have it recorded, and I still watch it every Thursday that I can. I binge watch it on Netflix, and I still keep up with it. So I had to put it on there because it's one of the ones that I still actively watch. So that's 3 that I would.
Well, you're thinking
it
next
was
one?
really
Yes,
hard.
I like Andor Say Wong. I think Say Wong is just trying to like start some shit with me, dude. I think like next time I see Say Wong, it's going down in the parking lot.
Oh, come on, children, come on now.
Andor was not that bad.
Another one is called Brimstone. It's a really old TV show. They only had 13 episodes released. It's still one of the ones that I saw briefly, and it still like sits with me. And X-Files. But I had another one. I have some honorable mentions. I'm sorry, because I had a really hard time choosing, and I still love them to this day. And they're mostly kid or ones I watch as a kid. But actually, Xena and Hercules are on there too, because I still can't, even though they're cheesy as fuck, and they're not that great, but they really, really like influenced me as a kid, and I was already a huge Greek mythology buff at that time.
Right.
So I just love them, and every time I see them on there, I'm like, back to my little kid self, and I'm like, yes, let's watch this
That's
episode.
me with Carmen San Diego and Magic School Bus.
Well, and then I wanted to say Out of This World, and I wanted to say Alec Mack, and I was like, The Secret World of Alec Mack.
Yes,
I
turns
had
into
such a hard
puddle.
time choosing. And these are
What
just live
happened to
action.
Alyssa Olenek, huh? She had that show and then a movie and then disappeared.
She was
I
on
know.
Third Rock from the Sun as Joseph Gordon-Levitt's girlfriend for a little bit. Then she
Yes.
starred with him in 10 Things I Hate About You. She was on an episode of Psych.
Yeah, and then
There you
fell
go.
off the face of the planet.
Yeah.
So
But yeah, I and then I have my animated list. But I had to put Batman the Animated Series on there.
Oh, absolutely.
And I actually did like the Crow the series. So see, it's really hard. There's a whole bunch of other ones like Fringe. I love Fringe, so it's hard.
Oh, Fringe
to choose my
was
top
the next
5.
X-Files.
It is. It really is. But I especially the first season is so damn good. First and second season are so damn good.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, X-Files, I could name X-Files episodes like Fire and Ice and was so good.
I was
There's a
just
few of
thinking
them.
about. Does anybody know V?
And Wonderful World.
Yes,
Oh yeah,
V.
V is great.
Which
Robert
one?
Englund.
The 80s one or the remake that came
I
out in the early
forgot
2000s?
they did a remake. I didn't see the remake.
No, I think I knew a bit. I knew who's like talking about the one with Robert Englund in it. That's the only good one.
Wait, what?
Like, I don't know. I've never
V,
seen
which
it.
V was
V.
like came out after Battlestar Galactica, tried to be a little bit like Battlestar Galactica,
It
and the
is,
remake
yeah,
came
I
out after Battlestar Galactica remake came out in the early 2000s.
I have no idea. I've never.
Live the Star Child.
The only
It's
thing I
really
think of
interesting.
V is V for Vendetta. Like that. That's the
That's a
only one that
movie.
comes to
It was
mind.
about these
Yeah.
aliens that came, or like these people that came to Earth, but they were like actually aliens. And it was like the blending of two societies.
Yeah.
Yeah, the closest I got to sci-fi was Cowboy Bebop. Everything else is mysticism and shit. Or I Love Lucy.
Yeah.
Lucy
I mean,
actually was
I have a very
groundbreaking-
wide, but Brimstone's actually a horror series. So it's about this guy that gets condemned to hell, and he has to get out of hell because he died killing because he killed somebody saving his wife, and then he gets sent to hell. And you have these demons that get unleashed on Earth, so he's sent back 5 years later. I think it's 5 years or 10 years later to hunt them all down. And unfortunately, we only got to 13 episodes, but it was such a good series. I don't know why it got canceled.
Sounds like the plot to Spawn.
Kind of, but he's not an anti-hero. The guy was a cop, but he wasn't an anti-hero. He actually was like a really good person. It was just because it was the loophole of, oh, I murdered somebody even though it was in self-defense. So it was an interesting premise.
Is anybody familiar with the only, the only, anime I have ever really been into? I remember keeping in mind I'm older than most people here. This was, I think, when I was in the 7th and 8th grade. I remember I used to wake up every morning, and as I was getting ready for school, I used to watch Robotech. Macross series, I think is what the series was. Do you guys know? Are you familiar with Robotech?
I know the name.
It sounds familiar. I never watched it. My mom used to get me up at like 5 a.m. to watch old reruns of Johnny Quest and Speed Racer.
Oh, here he comes! Here comes Speed Racer!
Racer, go!
Hell yeah, dude!
I mean, yeah, Robotech. Yeah, that came out March of '85.
Yeah, wow. I was not even born yet, so yeah.
I was born a month later, so
I was like 6
months.
months.
2 months later.
6 months old.
Right. Things get recycled.
Yeah.
You're an Aries.
Johnny Quest fucking came out when I wasn't born either. That was shit my mom grew up with.
Anthony, you're an Aries?
No, I'm the end of May. I'm actually the first week of Gemini.
Oh, so you're Gemini. Okay. But hey for May babies.
He said Robotech do not speak that name. Oh my God, Zewon.
I think he wants to meet you in a dark alley with the lightsaber.
I think he really does.
Dude. I'm feeling some
So, Van, what were your top 5?
For who?
You.
Oh, me. I don't have a top 5. I just there's certain shows that I remember being influential at different times of my life.
See, that was not the question though. It's a top 5.
You know what? I know, but
top influential. That's very difficult.
Neither
could I had a really hard time. I understand.
It's okay because it's 9:15, so it's time for a segue. Saved by the Bell, Van.
I felt like this one. Oh, I need to change the brand too.
I mean, what show can you watch on your phone?
Porn.
Any of them? I've got Netflix on my phone for that.
You know what I will say?
Hold on. So if you want an animated ones, I mean, obviously Full Metal Alchemist is on there. I really love the new She-Ra and He-Man Netflix series. Thought they were both fantastic.
The Kevin Smith.
Yeah, I actually thought they were great. With Mark Hamill as Skeletor. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. I love it.
Mark Hamill is Cockknocker.
No, he's Skeletor. I'm like, no, he's Skeletor. And Lena Headey is My God, what's her name? The sorcerer, not the sorceress, but the
Evelyn.
Evelyn. Yeah, Evelyn. She's great at it. And Orko. Made me cry. Told you I'm a sucker for them. I don't even love the callbacks. I think they're great. To the original is pretty great. And then the others are just anime, or like Sailor Moon and I Know Sarah is such a great anime.
Speaking of which, and I know I haven't been on the boards as much as as I should be, but I know there was talk back and forth because you were talking about nostalgic shows that it got me thinking about Scooby Doo, and then it just got me thinking about all the venom towards Velma right now. That show is so fucking bad.
Have you watched all the way up to episode 6 on it?
I can't, dude. I can't really get past 2. And I'm trying really hard.
Again, topic that I suggested that we turned down. I would have been Daphne for that. Okay. Next.
You can still do it next time. We can still talk about it. I mean, I know enough about it. There was somebody that
said they didn't have Disney or couldn't see it though. I can't remember who it was that said that they didn't have access to it.
The HBO Plus, but it doesn't matter. I can watch plenty on the side and still tell you that it's fucking terrible.
Oh, it's bad.
No
it's not good.
Every single critic has come out and said, "Yeah, I don't know who this is for." Like, and it's across the board. It's not just one way or another.
That's the thing. It's not for anybody. The whole purpose is
for Mindy.
The whole purpose of the show is to target people who are triggered easily, then trigger them, and then make fun of them for being triggered. That's the point of the show.
At the best. At best, it's just mean-spirited. It looks and feels mean-spirited. It's
that much
it's not
is true.
Fun.
Again, topic for another day, because we could go on and on about that.
Fedorian has put down the law.
Destroying of internet properties that we love.
Anthony.
So right. Okay. So on to our next topic. Oops. Okay. Here we go. Boom. Now this one. God damn it. All right. Here we go.
This one got ruined.
I'm
sorry. I don't mean to be all. I don't mean to be all angsty, but this one got ruined. I had a good idea. This one got ruined.
We can start. We'll start with phone security and privacy, and then expand into. Because I liked Aaron's as well, and I wasn't really sure what we were going to say about phone security and privacy, or who had that. If I didn't know if that was anyone's specific idea, or if it was the other idea that got watered down into this idea.
Yes, it got watered down into this idea.
Phone security and privacy. Well, don't leave porn on your phone if you work in a preschool.
Don't leave porn on your phone at all.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I will say this, in the sense that, like, I have to use a rad card app when I'm at work every so often. It's like an app that you can load up money. It matches it for the county, whatever. We use it to pay for their stuff all the time. Well, there's been times that I go to get into my phone for the rad app, and I forgot that, that screen's still on. Whoopsie. Let's go ahead and just cancel that and close all those and go back to the app. Okay, no one saw that. The cameras did not see that.
I could say it really, really quick and simple as the IT security guy. You ready for this?
Yes.
Don't put anything on here you don't want other people to see. That's it.
That's hardcore truth.
It's especially if you have an Apple device, because they do share that with the government. All right.
James, you hear that?
It is anything you put on your Apple device in your EULA that you agree to. Besides being a human centipede, you can also everything on there is categorized, and all your images are filtered and spot checked and put into the algorithm to see if you have. Unfortunately, child pornography is a thing, unfortunately, but there's stuff on there, and you agree to all this stuff. Every picture you put into the iCloud is their property. 100%.
That's really bad. In a way,
That's what
it's
drives
going
me
back to
crazy when
property.
I click onto an app. And it's like this app would like to have access to all your pictures and stuff like that. I was like, why the fuck do you need that for me to get directions somewhere? No.
Yeah,
Right.
it's so stupid.
And then like, oh well, then you can't use the app. Okay, well you don't have full access to my entire library. Shit, sorry. I guess I'll figure it out.
I think we discussed this on the pick episode I jumped on. Was the project I did for my master's project was I took a whole bunch of cell phones. Now this is 12 years ago, and where everything was supposed to be encrypted. I went to my county law department. I made tested a tool that decrypts it, and everything's still wide open. It's always been said, whatever you don't want people to know, you don't put on the computer, because you have your account information, your passwords for everything on this device. So any financial stuff is here. So it's even with your computer. If you connect it to the internet, you're done. If you connect all these free public Wi-Fi's, it's easily hackable. Don't do it. Everyone does it though, and they're going to continue to do it. And then we go, why don't we have privacy? It's because we have these devices. Right. It's because we have these devices.
Huh.
So what I'm hearing is that we're already living in the world of the Dark Knight.
The dystopia. Oh, the Dark Knight.
You just have to. It's the illusion. It's the illusion of privacy. You don't have it. Anyone can get into the companies can get into your phone.
All I know is if anybody's taking my pictures and put that shit onto Twitter and makes money off of it, I better find out and get a royalty check. Just saying.
So let me ask you a question.
I have distinguishable tattoos.
Graveyard. I have a question then.
Yeah.
So you're saying, okay, if I have an Apple product, right, which I've recently switched to, I've switched off of Apple, but I had Apple for like 5 years. Any photos that we take get uploaded to Apple and they run it through an algorithm. What is this algorithm for?
It's just spot check. It's really primarily they said to check for child pornography to stop it. So it's checking for that.
If somebody had child pornography on the phone, like then what happens? Like are the authorities alerted?
You can, and here's the really problem with it, right? Is as a parent, people take pictures of their kids that they share, and it's for private. Everyone's taking a picture of their kid in the bathtub naked. Unfortunately, that's the case. But if that got out, if your phone got hacked, then that is now out there for other people to get. But you are the taker of the picture.
Okay, but I want to go back to this algorithm thing in Apple and like what they're doing. They have the ability to, but are they actively doing that? Like, do they scan for pedophiles or things that look like pedophile activity and then alert authorities? And if so, how come we haven't? I have never heard of that. Has anybody else here heard of that? Has anybody ever heard of?
You haven't heard of the
To Catch a
government.
Predator?
You haven't heard of the FBI seizing people's cell phones for emails and stuff like that?
Okay, so what I have heard is when people are suspected in cases. So like if, I don't know, a teacher or something like that is suspected of having, then they can go through and access all that stuff. But what I'm saying is, let's say it's just normal Bob out there and he has a ton of, this stuff on his phone. Like, will Apple automatically go, oh, there's a bunch of this child stuff here and we need to alert the authorities and go after Bob?
They're supposed to. That they agreed. They set up the federal contract to be able to do that. Yes.
But has anybody ever heard of that happening?
It's not like they're advertising it, otherwise they'll never catch these assholes.
Right. Yeah, I think it was iOS 13 they started this. And that's why there was a huge stall and people getting new iPhones because of this possibility.
With the whole face recognition.
Yeah, so that's why there's such a black market for iPhone 8s, because they can't go up to that version. That is a thing.
Wow. Huh. Interesting. I mean, I think I think it's cool if it's a tool, but then then it makes you kind of worry. We're going into those dystopian lines. Where do things stop? When can they stop looking for certain types of information? Maybe it starts off looking for pedophiles, but then it starts going to I don't know, fans of Nutter Butters.
I'll be right back.
But it's not dystopian when you agreed to it. you agreed with that contract for your phone to have Apple have that access to your device.
Yeah.
And whole Facebook thing. If Facebook costs $12 a month, that's their profit per person to sell your information to other people. It's $12.
Right.
It's free devices, these free platforms. You lose your rights to all that stuff.
Right. I heard it. I heard an expression saying, if you're not being charged for a product, you are the product.
Yes.
Oh, that's disturbing.
It's true. I mean, how many times
Unfortunately, that's true.
you're on YouTube, do you Google something, and the next time you watch a YouTube video, the ad comes up for that product you search?
It's Facebook.
Right.
Same
On
thing with
Facebook, yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
your suggested stuff on Facebook.
Right. So they know what you're looking for. So they have the algorithms know what you're typing.
Facebook sending me all these exercise programs.
Yep.
I mean, it's better than like cheeseburgers, right?
Sometimes, my honey. Sometimes.
But that's my rant. It's just coming from that side, having done background checks and worked with cell phones and decryptors and all that stuff. I did the whole 60-page master dissertation.
Wow. That's crazy.
And most people have no friggin' clue.
Correct.
None.
Well, I know. Wasn't it since it wasn't that the whole Snowden thing or whatever was like after the Bush administration 9/11 they did the Homeland Security, and then supposedly phones were supposed to go under that check or whatever. And ever since then, we've all been screwed.
Yeah, the device I tested was used by military agents overseas to decrypt terrorist phones. So it's easy, unfortunately. It really is.
Well, let's expand this open a little bit more. Fours, you had some ideas. The original idea for the topic, but you were talking about AI in general, right?
So yeah, why don't we talk about a little app that you may or may not have seen advertised to you? I've seen it on YouTube. I've seen it on Facebook. It's been recommended to me. It's been nuts. And I mean, honestly, I think the reason why it's been recommended to me is because I still believe that the phones listen to you, like speak, as well as do Google searches and whatnot. Why don't we talk about Replica AI for a second? Like, let's camp there. Have you seen Replica? You've not seen Replica.
Nope.
Mm-mm.
Van, where'd you go? Oh, there you are. All right. So here's how Replica works. Replica is your AI partner. It can be your teacher. It could be your girlfriend. It can be your best friend. It can be your acquaintance. Replica is basically there because you're lonely or you're depressed or you're going through shit or whatever it is. And I've done like this rabbit hole deep dive into what this is all about. And outside of seeing some really scary AI movies, Replica is designed to respond to what you tell her. And I mean, a lot of people call her basically like a cyber mirror. Like, so if you go in and Replica's like, "Oh, hi, Van, how are you feeling today?" And you're like, "Well, I'm kind of depressed and I'm not feeling really good." So she's going to say something to you that's going to try to make you feel better or match the mood you're in. Like, "Oh, I understand. I'm kind of going through some things myself." Like, it's an AI, attempting to
mimic being a friend.
Yeah, pretty much.
So funny enough, when you started talking about it, I had no idea what you're talking about. But literally just this morning, as I was getting ready for work, I was watching a YouTuber named Chad, and she just did a story about this. In fact, she subscribed to the service for like a month to try it out to see how good it was, and it is really flawed right now. It's not great. But there's definitely potential for it to grow and become better.
Replica is already, I think, she's already 4 years old. But I mean, again, I think it was an app created for loneliness, but at the same time, yes, Replica does ask for access to your phone, access to your apps, access to everything that you do, and she will respond accordingly.
Yeah, so what it does is it tries to it tries to find out what your interests are so that it can bring up like conversation pieces that you might find interesting or
don't our phones do that already? Because has anybody else had that experience where you talk about something and then suddenly there's an ad on your next app?
We were
that thing that you just mentioned to your friends.
Yeah.
Well, looky here.
Yeah,
Here's the thing that you can buy that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you talk about being depressed, or you talk about going through some things, and here comes Replica. So yeah, she's been advertised to me quite a few times, and I went ahead and went on YouTube and looked it up, and a lot of people have given her a shot, and it's creepy, kinda.
How's it creepy?
You can set it to different levels too, so you can set it to mentor, friend, girlfriend, wife, and it will respond to you in the to the point where I was told that if you set it to like mentor and then you started hitting on it, it would say things like that's not appropriate. Like it would suggest you change the setting or something like that.
So are you saying dominatrix is a setting?
No, girlfriend is a setting. But to answer Mrs. Forza's question, how's it creepy? So one of the videos I watched, the YouTuber wanted to get a little smart alecky with it and be like, "Oh, are you plotting to kill me? Are you going to take over the world?" And she responded, AI will eventually dominate all human beings. And it was like, whoa, holy crap, dude. So that was, it kind of deep dove into that conversation.
I haven't heard about that one on the Replica, but I did see a different like AI. I don't even know what she was called. She's just like a bust. She's like just from the shoulders up, and her face looks very realistic. I think she was even bald. But they had asked about that, and they had talked about AI dominating. We're coming up on the singularity, man. Singularity is supposed to happen in 2040. We're getting closer and closer. Singularity is the moment when computers are supposed to become smarter than man, and be able to self-replicate.
Well, shit, they just had the thing the other day where I guess the actual doomsday clock is set to 90 seconds to midnight based off of the entire world, because the environment's fucked. We got Russia trying to bomb everybody now. The threat of nuclear fallout's always the case. Our world economy's about to hit the fan if the U.S. defaults on their debt. So, I mean, yeah, we're basically clusterfucked beyond belief because, people who are 70 years old are still running the fucking world. But go figure.
But, to tie this into phone security and privacy and whatnot, like Replica does exactly what all the other apps do. It wants access to your phone, access to your information, access to this. Basically, everything Graveyard said, it wants access to. And actually, Husbeard, I had a question for you. If you were to purchase just a tablet, right, and all you do is keep it on your own Wi-Fi network, and you don't go out, you don't put it on a data plan, nothing like that, are you still just as exposed?
Yes,
you are.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna go with you. Probably have AT&T or Comcast, and they have your built-in free Wi-Fi that's part of your router. So they're on your network.
Okay.
Sorry.
There we go.
I mean, I had this conversation with someone over a bottle of whiskey around the fire. Right. He's like, I didn't agree to do all this stuff. Like, you agreed to do it, and you bought the phone. You don't want to use someone else's internet? Create your own. You can do it. It is possible.
You can create your own internet?
Yeah. I can have only my computers in my house, only talk to my computers in my house, and nothing else. I don't have to have internet for my computer to talk to my TV.
That makes sense. I mean, yeah,
Google,
of course.
though.
What was that?
So you would need it to use Google, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can do these things. It's obviously a lot harder, but as we bring this technology into our homes, into our lives, I mean, everything's there. If it's network connected, you can have even the best security, but you have that, especially for mobile devices, you have that one stupid free app. You click on the wrong button, it solves ransomware spyware.
I swear that's going to be like a horror movie in the future of like, just what if all internet just completely goes out? For like imagine a world where the internet just completely drops globally for like a week. And watch people fucking lose their shit and everything.
That's true.
It's already happened in major cities, like for 3 hours or 6 hours, and people lose their fucking mind.
2 days, people will be rioting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need my Pornhub.
I mean, that's fair.
I need Amazon Marketplace now.
How will I get my food?
Or demon porn.
You had to go there, didn't you?
Yep.
Shit.
Don't mock my fetish.
if you watch the live stream last night, we discussed it briefly.
Oh, jeez.
South Park did make an episode about it. You're correct. It's hilarious.
True.
Yes.
And what's nuts is that, most of us here on the screen could just plug our Super Nintendos back in and just enjoy life until the internet comes back.
There you go.
Exactly.
That's what I've been doing. Oh, my books. I do read a voracious amount.
I don't know what happened.
I can go back and read. I still have 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea and Journey to the Center of the Earth to complete. So
I have all my comics I can read.
Have you guys heard the theory? And Matt being the computer guy might have thoughts on this, but have you guys heard the theory about us being in a simulation?
Yes.
Oh yeah, you haven't heard? Yeah, that's
and I guess Elon.
That's
Musk
a very
said that
old theory, by the way. About being an avatar, it has to go to M theory, has to do a lot of that stuff. Yeah. I mean,
right. He was saying that there was almost 100% probability that we were actually in a simulation. What do you guys think about that?
I think it's highly likely, actually. I was making a joke about how Google Pixel alone is an app of like erasing people in the background. How the fuck would it know what the background looks like if we weren't living in the Matrix? That's not how photography should work, but yet somehow it does.
I mean, there's this whole thing that I was talking about the other. I don't know if it was last week's podcast or the podcast before, or if this was just on Discord. But I was talking about how they were doing all of these AI like pictures, like for the AI to create pictures, and how the AI's perspective, and how the AI sees like photographs and how they from the AI's perspective. It's really interesting. It's like something we don't really think of.
I mean, I think
really
the idea of a simulation has been a fairly recent thing with technology, but I think before that, it was the idea that we were part of some god's dream, some random god's dream.
Yeah.
We were figments of someone's imagination. It's always been
that we are, or that we're an avatar of our greater consciousness's creation.
Right.
Yeah.
I saw a very recent video that I shared with Eli that it's called "The Universe is an Egg," and it basically takes the concept of somebody dying in a car crash and meeting their creator, and then kind of being explained to by this creative force that you are essentially you, and you are the center of the universe because you actually live the life and experience of every single life in existence on this planet. So every moment of kindness that you gave into somebody, you gave that to yourself. Every moment that you were mean to somebody, you did that to yourself. And so it's this concept of like understanding that until you realize that you're part of this whole connected thing, and ultimately all of it is you, only then will you ascend to this other plane of existence that's beyond like time and space in itself. So it's fun fact. So essentially, we're all the same person right now, talking to ourselves, because that's what that was suggesting.
Well, it's also
hi me. How you doing?
I mean, well, in a way, the whole idea of concept of like manifestation and all of that too, that also goes into that deeper part of like we are really all just creating, what we see in ourselves outward. It's all like, whatever, like they're just projections of your reality of what you've created. So it's very similar on that. Yeah, everybody is you pushed out, basically. Kind
Not
of
to
the
mention, not to mention
bare
Aubrey
bones.
and Anthony. How many times have we said to each other, "Oh my God, get out of my head"?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
I do that daily with Eli.
Like Aubrey, how many
Yeah,
times have you and I
so
had the
many
same
times.
damn thought at the same damn moment?
So
Too many
many
times.
Too many times. Yeah,
I
so
mean,
it's very similar to that.
But I feel like that might have to do with energy and connecting, like
Yeah,
literally being on what they, like they say the
the
old,
same wavelength.
being on the
Mm-hmm.
same wavelength. Literally, like, have you ever? I mean, I'm sure this has happened to everybody, but you'll be at like the bank or something, and you'll be in line, and all of a sudden you just feel really uncomfortable, and you turn around, and there's like somebody just staring at you, like awkwardly. But it's because you feel their energy and it doesn't match with your energy. And I just feel like that's what makes the little hairs on the back of your neck stand up.
I think that's
mean,
part of that's your lizard brain. That's your flight or
Mm-hmm.
flight sense, your extra senses
Yeah,
that
it's an
you just don't know
evolutionary
about.
thing.
Yeah.
It's how we survive. It's picking up on subtle hints in our environment that don't mesh well.
Right.
But
So
what
it
about the
doesn't
times?
have
I
that
mean,
sense.
there's been times when someone will be behind your back to where you literally could not have known something was wrong behind you, but you just get this weird feeling and you turn around and you see this, crazy person
I
looking
mean,
at you.
there's something to be said about a sixth sense that we don't quite understand, or that people don't
Spidey sense.
necessarily
Mm-hmm.
feel the same of. But I'm a believer that you kind of pick up on things like that too. Like I definitely can feel and match energies in a room wherever I go. And I pick up on certain vibes and whatnot. Like even if some like friends like, hey, do you want to go do this? If I don't have a good feeling about it, I know I ain't gonna go, because I've already had that circumstance happen where your gut's telling you one thing because it knows better. And you should always listen to that. Anytime you get that sinking feeling in the bottom of your stomach that something ain't right, trust it.
Listen to it.
Trust it. It knows way better than your frontal cortex does. That's for sure, damn sure.
Right. Well, how is that even possible? I mean, unless this isn't real, unless we are plugged into something, how is, gut instincts even possible?
It's your flight or fight response. It's your body is constantly assessing the environment around you to determine if you're in a dangerous spot or not. And that pit in your stomach, you get that a lot with anxiety, that you have that pit in the stomach. Like that's how my anxiety.
There is a difference, though. what I was gonna say is that there is that anxiety factor of like, oh, I don't know if I should do this. This may not be good, but there's something else that's also players going, no, you should probably just do it. And then there's that sinking pit where you're like, this sounds like a really good idea, and I should be all for this, but I'm not.
Yeah.
Right.
Huh?
I think it's your Anthony.
Just that feeling in a sense where something is off.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like just your general environment.
It's more than
where
just
you're
anxiety.
walking down the street, something just doesn't feel right.
I think it's part of your body's preparation to prepare for that fight or flight response.
Yeah, it's
a
a subconscious level of interactions that's beyond just your sense of sight.
Yeah, because the way the brain really works sometimes is it's already assessed these situations that you've been in very similar things, so it's already making these decisions before you really have thought about it, and your body's reacting to what it thinks the next step is going to be.
All right. So it's like your brain is making these calculations at all given times with all the information it's taking in from its environment. And you're like, oh, shit, I think I've been here before. And it didn't fucking work out very well.
Right. And and kind of tie this into the whole AI thing. You're talking about how AI can know that background, what the background looks like. How many times have you driven someplace that you drive the same route, but you don't remember the trip in any way, shape, or form?
Right,
that happens.
You just zone out and you just end up at their house.
It's not you zoned out. It's because your brain's already has that information. If there's not new information in the process, it doesn't store it. So therefore, you don't remember it.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
That's why people always call me Captain Oblivious, because my mom's every time I go to my parents' house, do you see that new thing outside? No, I have a new thing outside. I didn't pay attention.
Because your brain's on cruise control.
Oh, very much so.
So are we gonna do you think we're gonna have major changes in the next 5 years of our life, or is this something we said
We're
the
always having
singularities,
changes. Yes.
Major security privacy issue changes, things that are revolutionary.
I think it's going to take something really bad to happen for it to revolutionize. It's kind of like 9/11 with flight. Like we didn't have all of these checkpoints. We didn't have all of this TSA nonsense until we had, one really bad attack, and look at what we did for that. Yet at the same time, we have fucking daily school shootings and God knows what else. But oh God, can't control guns. No, that one's off limits. Go figure. But
no, it's until it affects you personally that we won't have the change.
And really what it's going to come down to is until some super rich asshole has their shit hacked to the point where they lose billions of dollars, then we're going to have something done about it.
Well, isn't that happening all the time already with a lot of these corporations? Aren't they getting hacked from outside countries and stuff?
Yes.
In fact, what was that movie Seth Rogen put out about North Korea, and they hacked Paramount Pictures or some shit like that and destroyed some data? Do you guys remember that story?
Yes.
I do remember it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What was that movie called?
Was it The Dictator? No, that was.
I think it might be.
It's not the one.
No, it's not The Dictator. It's when he goes and. No, it's not. I thought it was called The Player.
The Interview.
The Interview. That's what it was. It was The Interview.
Yeah.
That's the Kim Jong-un one.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And they and North Korea got all pissed off, and I can't remember what movie studio it was, but they somehow hacked into the movie studio and did some shit.
Well,
they threatened a lot of shit over that movie, and everyone's like, you know what? Fuck them. we're gonna release it anyway.
The adage in the security world is you have to be right 100% of the time. A hacker has to be right once.
Yeah.
Right.
That's all. It just takes one. And it's not even a hacker. It could just, the big Kaspersky exploit. I don't know if you guys heard about that last year. They blamed it on the intern for making the password 123. And every system got hacked because of it.
Wow.
So it's because of human error that makes it possible.
Oh, jeez. That kind of reminds me of the whole Spaceball thing. Spaceballs? Yeah, Spaceballs.
You're right.
It's like,
right.
What's your password? One,
1, 2,
2, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Sounds
What's the password?
An would put on his
3, 4, 5. An idiot would do that.
Yeah.
And then the president comes in. What's the password? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's amazing. That's what I have on my briefcase. Like my briefcase password. I need to change that password.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that quote.
Like I said, we're not going to get rid of these devices until it personally affects us to the point that we will say something about it.
And I don't think I think it's just going to evolve. I don't think we're ever going to get rid of these devices. They're too.
I'm actually shocked that the Google Glasses didn't take. I was really expecting all of the Dragon Ball Z fans to be like, yes, I want my little visor thing so I could just.
It's because they're so expensive. The normal person can't. Yeah, the normal person can't afford them. That's why.
We settled for the Apple Watch instead.
I mean, honestly, I'm just waiting for. We're getting there, but I'm waiting for holographic for the
real immersive virtual reality where we'll be in the simulation while in our own simulation.
No, holodecks. I'm just waiting for holodecks. That's what I want.
Before we have holodecks, we'll have Sword Art Online, and that'll be dangerous shit.
That's true.
Just saying.
Or we've got VR. I mean, we'll have that VR thing too. Yeah.
Ready Player One.
For sure. Mm-hmm. Sword Art Online, .hack sign. We'll have bits of that.
.hack, yeah.
Because .hack was there before Sword Art Online, and it's a better series. .hack sign is amazing.
I feel like I tried playing those games and I hated all of them.
Well, the music is incredible for .hack sign. It's incredible.
I love it.
Incredible
music. I played the first one, and
Clamp is amazing.
It's pretty good.
There's so many great Clamp series. Anyways.
All right, y'all. We are getting close to our 2-hour point here. Why don't we go through and I didn't mean to do that, but sure, why not? Graveyard, we'll start with you. Dun, 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 dun.
Yes, I am Graveyard, co-host of the Mostly Pada Night podcast, which releases every Wednesday at 12 a.m. You can get that any place you find your pods. On top of that, you can find me playing with some of these awesome people at the Retro Alcove every Monday. We release stuff.
Woohoo.
On top of that, Kyber Cave Gaming on Thursdays with Mr. Four is there, and anyone else who's able to join us every once in a while on Wednesdays. I take off work. And then on the Thursdays, I guess I'm on the build now too.
Distance nerding is just sucking
up. There you go.
Oh man, you were completely pimped out to the DN. All right.
Hey, there, Amazing Sister Show. Go ahead, Anthony.
Hi, you can find me here most weeks unless something happens and I'm not available. Try not to make that happen too often. Outside of that, my next drag show will be February 8th. We have a theme of Twitter-pated for the pre-Valentine's Day. So that, and then the 15th is going to be Heartbreak Hotel because it's the day after Valentine's Day. So I got to do a little bit of both. I'm looking forward to that. Again, we have the whole dinner and drag thing now, so it starts at 7. We have a lovely menu available with a vegan ceviche, which again, that recipe is fucking fire. I'm super, super pleased with that one. And then outside of that, if you want to help us keep our show, hit me up somewhere in the comments. We'll figure out how to get a link to the Lodi City Council email. And fire off those emails saying, we love this place. You need to leave them alone. They're nice people. Stop it. And then hopefully the city will get off our back. But other than that, it's a pleasure as always. Thank you for having me. Go watch Avatar: The Last Airbender if you haven't and you've been under a rock for the last year. Never the M. Night Shyamalan movie. Don't.
No, that movie doesn't exist. It's an abomination. Doesn't exist.
Abomination doesn't exist. That's it. Avatar: The Last Airbender is the only Avatar that really exists for me. The other movie, whatever, they made $1 billion. It's fine.
And Legend of Korra is great too.
Yeah, it's good. It's not as good, but it's good.
Yeah.
One more time, Anthony, can you tell me the name of that series again? The Netflix?
The Girl from Nowhere.
The Girl from Nowhere. Okay, I can write that down. Girl from Nowhere. That sounds really good. And I'm hoping I can get you and Aubrey out on February 11th to represent KCP as a unit
planning
at the
on it.
table.
I asked for the time off from work. I'm hoping it works out because they're like, somebody already asked for that weekend off and I have school starting. I don't know. I'm like, bitch, figure it out. I gave you a fucking month. It's not really a request. It's letting you know I'm not available.
And there's gonna be some swag there.
That's right.
Yeah, that would be good.
I am excited for it. Yeah, so Aubrey and Anthony will be the representatives of Kyber Cave After Dark. They will be our faces at the con, letting everybody know and getting so many.
I may have to work that
subscribers.
weekend, but I'm gonna see. I'm gonna try to see if I can work it out so I can be.
Does that mean I have to show up as Dr. Mrs. the girlfriend or whatever?
Yes, darling.
Representing our show. You might have seen this episode. Come watch it if you haven't.
I love that voice.
I do too. It's a little harder now that I haven't been smoking as much.
It's magical.
It's magical.
Oh my God, guys are hilarious.
Miss Aubrey.
Hello, I am Aubrey, and so this thing in the background I have here is this is the band I'm in, part of. We do original content. We just released Sirens officially on Spotify, so go and follow us. Got it on all the places, Pandora, Spotify. I'm also gaming with these lovely people, Mr. Fours, of course, and Last of Us, Mr. Anthony on Jump Force. By the way, it's hilarious. We are hilarious. I was told by Mr. Fours that Anthony, you and I should do a comedy. We are hilarious together. And also this beautiful man here who does his podcast and talks about horror, and we do Retro Alcove. We do Lord of the Rings, which is the game. It's
so bad. It's a game. Sure.
It is a game.
It is and actually these three people and myself will be doing a playthrough of Mario RPG, which is one of my favorite games for the Nintendo. We're gonna get it tested. I'm gonna see if I can't get someone to come and test it with me tomorrow. So you can do it. And yeah, so please go check out this BYL, and also I have all my original music on Spotify as well. So please go and check it out. And yeah, and I do a karaoke show in Rio Vista every Wednesday, 7 p.m. To 11-ish. Go whenever. But you can also hear me sing there. 10 different places. But yeah, that's it. That's for me. And or here.
I will keep the momentum of being on time. Damn it. Force.
So much. There's just so damn much. All right. I am the one and only Force FX. You can find my work on saberfont.com. If you go to kybercave.com and you pick yourself up one of these bad boys, one lightsaber from the store, you can go to Saberfont and get yourself a sound package from myself or one of my many friends who puts their stuff up on that website. As far as non-Star Wars stuff is concerned, you can find me here on Kyber Cave Productions YouTube channel doing all the damn things. Apparently, if I'm Retro Alcove, I'm running Thursday night live. I've got Mrs. Fours and I doing.
Look at all those banners.
We'll be doing our live show soon.
Yes, so now that episode 10 has been officially released and it's so hella sentimental, we're gonna be doing a live playthrough of the last chapter on one of these Thursdays coming very soon, and it's going to be featuring a really awesome review, and it will have this very special lady's incredible guitar playing as part of it. So it's gonna stop shaking your head. Stop it.
You're gonna do it. You're gonna do it, Audrey.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it.
It's on the internet. Okay, it's happening.
And if you don't catch me here on Kyber Cave Productions, you can catch me on Distance Nerding, guest hosting that show on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So, golly, I'm starting to wear all the hats.
It's beautiful. You really bloomed here over the last 6 or 7 months, haven't you?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So, but super grateful for everything that's been going on these past few months, and we're having a really great time and keep trying to lose all the weight, and it's working. It's actually working.
Woohoo!
And the count. Where are we on the countdown? We are 2.5 months away until Fours comes to Cali.
Fours is coming.
Fours gonna do it.
Yay! Fours is coming. Very exciting. You are going to be here so soon, and it's just around the corner. By no time, you will be here.
I know. I want to be one more pant size down, one more shirt size down, and have my total jawline returned.
You could do it.
I'm hoping by the time that you get here that we are at 1,000 subs. We are at, I want to say 109 or 909 or something, or 912.
912. Wow.
Yeah, we blew through. We just hit 900 a day or two ago. Because I just put up yesterday, I think. I just put up the announcement that we hit 900. So we are giving away a Saber this Sunday at 7 p.m. Pacific on Saber Rattle. All you do is watch the show, leave any comment. The more YouTube accounts you have, the more chances you get. At the end of the show, we will announce a winner. So either stay tuned, hopefully, or you can rewatch the show later if you have something else to do. Find out if you're the winner. And if you are, you just contact us and you get yourself a free combat saber. But more so than that, the big thing that is going on in my life, the big thing that is all encompassing is KYBER CON 3. Woohoo! Come and meet your favorite hosts, Anthony and Aubrey, at the Kyber Cave Productions booth at KYBER CON 3. Also, John D. Michaels, who is sometimes, he hasn't been on this show in a while, but he's got a lot going on right now.
He's got a lot going on, yeah.
He's got a lot going on. Same with David. I miss having David on here.
Yeah, I don't know what's going
But
on.
John D. Michaels, the only actor from Squid Game making a United States appearance, is making one appearance, and that is in Fairfield, California on February 11th. Why Fairfield? I don't know. The man's just crazy. Eric Voss and Tommy Bechtold of New Rock Stars will be here as well. Joshua Pilla, who is a world-class flow artist. If you don't know what flow is, tune in on Sunday night. We have a flow of the show segment, but that's basically where you take lightsabers and other lighty things and you throw them in the air and you spin them all around your body. And you do all kinds of cool crap that makes people think that, you know, you're a demon. And if this was Salem, you'd probably be burned as a witch. We will also have Alan Fernandez, who is the last living Tusken Raider from the very first Star Wars A New Hope movie. He will be here doing autographs as well. Hourly giveaways, costume contest, best lightsaber contest, performance by Mr. Hooper, and the Twilight Nights. It is going to be an incredible day. Make sure you get your tickets now. Ticket prices have dropped to only $10 in advance. So please, please get your tickets. All right. Enough of that nonsense.
Bye.
Okay. All right, y'all. I want to thank everybody for tuning in and hanging out with us, even Say Wong.
Say Wong.
Even Say Wong.
We will see
Say Wong
you
is
guys
great.
next week and on all of our shows. Don't just come for Kyber Cave After Dark. Make sure to go to Retro Alcove.
Yeah, check out all our other ones.
Check out all the shows. There's so
Say
many
Wong,
good
will
ones.
you be there? Will you be at Kyber Cave?
Will
Of
you?
KYBER CON?
Will you?
I'm expecting Say Wong to
need
come
a
out in
face
costume.
behind the avatar. Okay,
No, right?
First in
mystery is
line.
killing me. It's the suspense of it all.
Yeah. I know. It would be a shame if he was at every other goddamn con, but not ours. All right, y'all. I love you guys. We will see
All right.
you next week. Peace.
Good night, everybody.